My phone rang at 9:47 a.m. on my 27th birthday. Unknown number. Portland area code. Is this Megan Taylor? Yes. Who's this? This is Linda Chen from Providence St. Vincent Medical Center. I'm calling from our Records and Patient Safety Department. We need to speak with you about your birth in 1997. Are you able to come to the hospital today? My stomach dropped. What's wrong? Is someone sick? No one is sick, but we've discovered a significant administrative error from 27 years ago that involves you. We need to discuss it in person. Can you come in this afternoon? 3 hours later, I sat in a conference room, a hospital administrator, a hospital attorney, and 2 DNA test results that said the people who raised me weren't my biological parents. I'd been switched at birth, sent home with the wrong family, lived 27 years as someone else's daughter, and the hospital had known for 6 months before they called me. Hook and credentials, 030 to 120. I didn't scream in that conference room. I didn't have a breakdown. I sat calmly, asked questions, and took detailed notes on everything they said. They thought I'd be too emotional to think clearly. They were about to learn I'm a paralegal who works in medical malpractice law and knows exactly what questions to ask when a hospital admits liability. My name is Megan Taylor, or at least, that's the name on my birth certificate. I'm 27 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon. I work at a law firm specializing in hospital negligence cases. For 27 years, I thought I knew who I was. Then a phone call on my birthday unraveled everything, and the way I handled it calmly, strategically, with documentation of every word determined what happened next. Hit subscribe to Calm Verdict Stories. Drop your city in the comments. If you've ever had your entire identity questioned, if you've ever discovered a family secret that changed everything, this story is for you. Because sometimes the calmest response to chaos is the one that protects you best. Backstory 122, 4 o'clock. I grew up in suburban Portland. Loving parents, Robert and Susan Taylor. Middle-class family. Normal childhood, but I never quite fit. I'm 5 feet 10. My mother is 5 feet 2. My father is 5 feet 8. I have dark curly hair. Both my parents are blonde. I have brown eyes. They both have blue, recessive genes. My mother would say, your grandmother on your dad's side had dark hair. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? But there were other things. I was athletic, competitive, ambitious. My parents were quiet, artistic, introverted. I excelled at math and science. They were both English teachers. I wanted to be a lawyer. They didn't understand why I'd choose such a confrontational career. Growing up, I'd joke, "Are you sure I wasn't switched at birth?" My mother would laugh. "We brought you home from the hospital ourselves. You're ours." I never doubted it. Not seriously. Until March 15th, 2024. My 27th birthday. The phone call 4 o'clock to 6:39:47 a.m. I was at my apartment, opening birthday cards when the hospital called. We need to speak with you about your birth in 1997. I drove to Providence St. Vincent Medical Center at 1 p.m. Linda Chen, Director of Patient Safety, led me to a conference room. Hospital attorney Michael Rodriguez was already there. Ms. Taylor, thank you for coming. What we're about to tell you is extremely difficult. I pulled out my phone. Do you mind if I record this conversation? They exchanged glances. They say, that's fine. I pressed record. Please proceed. Linda took a breath. In September 2023, we completed a comprehensive audit of our maternity ward records from 1992-2000. We were responding to a lawsuit involving patient identification protocols. What did you find? We found evidence that on March 15, 1997, 2 female infants born within hours of each other were given incorrect identification bands. They were sent home with the wrong families. The room tilted. You're saying I was switched at birth? Yes. We cross-referenced hospital records with the 2 families involved. We located both individuals. We requested DNA testing. The results confirmed our fears. She slid 2 documents across the table. DNA test, result, Megan Taylor and Robert Taylor, probability of paternity. 0% DNA test result. Megan Taylor and Susan Taylor. Probability of maternity. 0%. We contacted your parents 6 weeks ago. They've known since February 1st. My parents had known for 6 weeks, and they didn't tell me. The confrontation 6:30 to 9 o'clock. I left the hospital at 3:42 p.m., drove directly to my parents' house. My mother answered the door. Megan, happy birthday, sweetheart. We were just about to, you knew. Her face went pale. The hospital called me today. They told me I was switched at birth. They told me they informed you 6 weeks ago. My father appeared behind her. Megan, let's sit down. You've known since February that I'm not your biological daughter and you didn't tell me? You let me celebrate my birthday this morning, thinking everything was normal? My mother's eyes filled with tears. We were trying to find the right time. The right time was 6 weeks ago when you found out. Or better, Jade, when the hospital first contacted you. We were scared, my father said. Scared you'd leave. Scared you'd want to find your biological family. Scared we'd lose ya. So you lied to me for 6 more weeks. We didn't lie. We needed time to process. You had 6 weeks to process. I had 6 hours. I turned to leave. Megan, please. You're our daughter. DNA doesn't change that. DNA is exactly what changed it. The investigation 9 o'clock to 11:30, March 16th to 20th, 2024, I did what I do best. I investigated. I requested my complete hospital file from Providence St. Vincent. All birth records. All administrative notes. All correspondence with my parents. I found. September 18th, 2023. Hospital audit flags. Potential identification error involving 2 female infants born. March 15th, 1997, October 3rd, 2023. Hospital legal team recommends DNA testing to confirm. November 12th, 2023. Hospital contacts both families. Requests consent for testing. December 8th, 2023. DNA results confirm switch. February 1st, 2024, hospital formally notifies Robert and Susan Taylor. February 1st, 2024. Hospital formally notifies James and Carol Morrison. Morrison, that was my biological parents' name. My parents had known for 43 days before my birthday. They knew when we had dinner on March 10th. They knew when my mother called to ask what kind of cake I wanted. They knew when they bought me birthday presents. And they said nothing. I hired an attorney, not for a lawsuit, for mediation, for guidance. Megan, this is unprecedented, my attorney, Rebecca said. Legally, the Taylors are your parents. They raised you, but biologically, you have another family. What do you want? I want the truth. All of it, from everyone. The other family, 11:30 to 13:30, March 25th, 2024. The hospital arranged a meeting. James and Carol Morrison. My biological parents, ages 52 and 50, they brought someone with them. A young woman, 27 years old, blonde, blue eyes, 5'4". This is Emily, Carol said, the daughter we raised. Emily Taylor, born March 15th, 1997, raised by the Morrisons. My biological parents, non-biological daughter. We sat across from each other in the hospital conference room. She looked like the Taylors. I looked like the Morrisons. How long have you known? I asked Emily. 6 weeks. They told me February 1st. Same day your parents found out. How are you handling it honestly? I'm devastated. My whole life feels like a lie. I understood exactly what she meant. Carol Morrison spoke. Megan, we've wanted to meet you since the moment we found out. We lost 27 years with our biological daughter. We know we can't get that back, but we'd like to try to build something now, if you're open to it. James added, no pressure. We understand this is overwhelming. We just want you to know we're here. I looked at them, at their faces. I had James's nose, Carol's eyes, their height. I need time, I said. Take all the time you need, Kara said. Emily looked at me. Do you want to grab coffee sometime? Just us, no parents, no hospital, no lawyers, just two people trying to figure out the same impossible situation. Yeah, I said, I'd like that. The calm decision, 13:30 to 15:30, April through August 2024. I navigated the most complicated 5 months of my life. I met with Emily twice a week. Coffee, walks, dinners, we became friends. She was the only person who truly understood what this felt like. I met with the Morrisons once a month. Slow, careful relationship building, getting to know my biological family. I maintained distance from the Taylors. They'd broken my trust. Not by being my non-biological parents, but by hiding the truth for 6 weeks. August 2024. The hospital offered a settlement. $150,000 to each of us, me and Emily, for the psychological impact of the switch. My attorney reviewed the offer. It's low for a case this significant. We could sue for more. What would we sue for? Emotional distress, loss of familial relationship, negligence. You could probably get $500,000 to $1 million. And it would take years. And lawyers would get half, and I'd spend that time in litigation instead of building relationships with people I actually want to know. I accepted the $150,000. So did Emily. September 2024. I sat down with the Taylors. I'm not cutting you out of my life, I told them. You raised me. You're my parents in every way that matters, except biology. But I need you to understand something. The 6 weeks you hid this from me damaged our relationship more than the DNA test ever could. My mother was crying. We're so sorry. We were terrified. I know. But trust is earned back slowly. We'll rebuild. But it starts with honesty. Always. Resolution 1530 in November 2024. Thanksgiving. I had dinner with the Taylors on Thursday. With the Morrisons on Friday. With Emily on Saturday. 3 families. 2 biological. 1 chosen. December 2024. I legally changed my name. Not to Morrison. I kept Taylor. Because the Taylors raised me, Taylor bet me. They made mistakes, but they were still my parents. But I added Morrison as a middle name. Megan Morrison Taylor. Both familias, both identities, both parts of who I am. If you've made it this far, drop a comment. Tell me your city. Tell me if you've ever discovered something that changed how you see your family. Identity isn't just biology. It's also the people who raised you, who shaped you, who loved you, even when DNA said you weren't theirs. My name is Megan Morrison Taylor. I'm 28 years old. I'm a paralegal, a daughter to 2 sets of parents, and someone who learned that the calmest response to an identity crisis is accepting that you're allowed to belong to more than one story. They thought I'd fall apart when I learned the truth. They thought I'd choose one family over another. They thought DNA would define everything. They were wrong. Primera stajed calm. I built relationships with both families. I set boundaries where trust was broken, and I created a life where biological truth and chosen family coexist. The verdict is always calm. The truth is always complicated. An identity is whatever you decide it means. 27 years as someone else's biological child. One phone call that changed everything, and a choice to love the people who raised me while building connection with the people who created me. Both are real. Both matter, and staying calm enough to hold both truths is the hardest thing I've ever done.